Welcome back to another Cup of Conversation with me, Nidra Simmons. I apologize in advance. I'm outside, so you're going to hear neighbors talking. That's not my concern. Outside is a free place. But I just want to apologize in advance so that if their information is on here, that's on them, not me. This is a public place. Well, opening, not public place. But I want to come on and just have a couple of conversation. I wanted to try to go live, but I don't know if I'm ready for live. I feel so, I don't know, it's just like a lot of stuff going on when I go live. It's like I can feel everything. So I'm going to go back to my pre-recordings, and when the time comes, I'll go live. It's a good Saturday. Woke up, got up, went walking. I didn't go walking as far as I would normally go, but that's okay because it's been months since I was walking, so a start is a good thing. And if y'all watched that video, the way I was breathing, that's a good thing I stopped too. Excuse me. But I wanted to come on and talk about some things. Just want to flow. There was something I was thinking about, but it's not in my mind right now. But if it was meant to be, it'll come back. But I do want to remind people out there to never forget to love yourself. Take time to spend time with yourself. Appreciate yourself. A lot of people can't stand themselves. They'll do all these things to other people. But when they get that quiet time to look at themselves and reflect on all the things that they do, they can't handle it. They don't like the person that they're in front of. Only you can change that. And it starts by you forgiving you, loving yourself, and forgive others. Because once you take it home first, you can recognize your shortcomings. You can recognize where you can improve. You can recognize how you feel. And with those things, develop compassion. And then you can start reflecting on how they may have felt. And then you can apologize. Because the apology, forgive them. Not necessarily apologize, but you can forgive them. And the forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. Because you get to reflect and feel what they went through after you take the time to see what it is that you've done and feel it for yourself. And when you realize that whatever you did, if you had did something on a negative part, it was not a good feeling. So you can show some compassion, you can relate. You can free yourself. And apologies don't necessarily have to be face-to-face. Some apologies, God's going to make you apologize in front of the whole world. But you can apologize by asking God to forgive you and allow them to forgive you. Because God, Mother, Father, and I know I see in my videos, I say a lot of he's. And that's because that's what I have been brought up saying a lot. And I'm realizing that Mother, Father is both he and she in one body. And all those pieces are sprinkled out into us as he's and she's of this world. Now, I don't expect you all to agree with how I think, because we all have our way of understanding things or putting things in a perspective so that it's easier for you to digest. As long as you are digesting it or putting it in a way for it's easily to be digested with you, and it's going towards doing the right thing and not the wrong thing, that's leading towards love and not hatred, that's leading towards compassion, that's leading towards forgiveness. then you're free to believe whatever you like. I just find it now easier to put things in bite sizes so that it's easy to digest, easy to understand. So you may say tomato, I say tomato. It's still the same fruit or vegetable, because that's one of those items that people can say, no, that's a vegetable. No, that's a fruit. It's your perception. It's what you believe. It's how you gravitate to the understanding of what it is. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but it's not coming back to me. But I do want to talk about how you can be rich and not have no money. Now, I want to be rich with money and be rich in love. But for all those who've asked this question, I asked this question too. When people say, you're so rich, you're so full of, you're so rich, you're full of abundance. And living in this real world here, abundance is automatically money. Where is it? But you are rich as well in love. You're rich in compassion. You're rich in obedience, respect. You're rich in the Holy Spirit. You're rich in God's love. You're rich in all those other areas. And eventually, financially, richness is coming. But I used to wonder why you keep telling, people look at me and think that I'm rich. People used to look at me and thought that I lived when I was growing up, in a house with a white picket fence. I lived in the projects. There was no white picket fence there, unless it was a couple of houses down out of the projects. And I used to wonder why. And then people used to come up to me and ask me for money, like I had a lot of money. I'm like, wait a minute. I need money. How you gonna keep asking me for money? I'm a single parent. I'm sitting here trying to make ends meet. I'm sitting here trying to make sure my kids stay and get through college. You know, I give God the glory and the honor, and thank you for allowing my children to understand that, you know, at an early age, you're going to have to go and get these scholarships to help you with schooling. But I'm looking at people like, why are you asking me for money? I need money. But they were seeing other things. They were seeing the richness and love. And there was a time in my life where I should have not want to love if you was to look at the whole picture from the outside. But from the inside, I was so filled with love. No matter what went on around me on my outer side, my inner side was just full of love. It was screaming for love. It wanted to love. It was filled with love. It had the capability to love. It was just the outside, and my choices were just not matching the inside. And I kept myself busy, too busy, to where I couldn't hear and recognize all of the inside stuff. But I've learned to spend time with me. I've learned to forgive me. I've learned to appreciate me. I've learned to love me. And I was on a live yesterday with someone, and he said, the love that you have within you and you loving yourself, and I'm paraphrasing, it wasn't word for word that he said it, but get the gist, that love that you give yourself is going to spread out. It's going to spread out. People are going to see it, feel it, receive it. Some may not receive it. Some fight hard as heck to not acknowledge it. But it's going to shine out. It's going to flow out. And it's going to go out. You have no control over it because your love is that powerful. Your love is that potent. This is some people, not everybody. Some people like to house hatred. Some people like to house misunderstandings. Some people like to house excuses. And you have to learn not to. You have to learn and determine what's an excuse and what's a fact. I used to have people tell me, you got a lot of excuses. And I'm thinking, like, you ain't go through what I went through. So why is it an excuse? Is it an excuse because you didn't experience it? But you have to determine what's an excuse and what's a fact. I made a video before about you don't have to explain yourself to people, and you don't. If you feel like what you say is going to hit on a level to where the other person should have a notebook and a pencil, and you don't have to explain yourself. You know, and that's all that matters. But if you want to help somebody and it's not going to affect you personally, it's not going to trigger you, and you can explain it, then by all means. But you don't have to repaint yourself for somebody else to be able to take you. You are who you are. Be proud of who you are, and stand firm in who you are. Now, I said people used to tell me I have a lot of excuses. It was only excuses because they didn't want to hear it, nor were they able to go through it. I know what I went through, hands-on, because I experienced it. So I can tell you what I went through, and I can tell you how to get out of it because I've gotten out of certain things. You can say it's excuses because you think I'm wasting time. For some reason, every job I work on, I work really hard. When I tell you I work really hard, I work really hard. And they were treating me as if I was just sitting behind a desk or on a table, just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Excuse my dry hands, y'all. Just wash my hands. Twiddling my thumbs. And that's not the case. I work hard. And then I had to think about it. I said, well, you know what? Why do they think I'm not working? And I thought about it. Maybe because I make it look easy. And for them, it's a little bit challenging. So they just keep pounding stuff on me and keep pounding stuff on me and keep pounding stuff on me. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Because I make it look easy. Honey, some of these things are hard, and I work really hard. So the sooner you understand some things, the sooner you get in that quiet space and to reflect, regroup, and to sometimes dissect, just to get an understanding for yourself, you need to take that time to do that. And you need to love yourself enough and to have confidence in yourself enough to know that what you do, what you say, what you agree, if you agree to it, that's what it is. Period. It's not going to change because somebody else can't see how you see it or go through it the way you go through it. Stand firm on your beliefs. Stand firm on who you are. Stand firm on what you know. Because you know. You've experienced it. You lived it. You went through it. You came out of it. Don't let nobody else change what you know. Because you know. I'm telling you, I'm talking to myself when I talk to you out there. And this is a good type of therapy too. Because, and I can advise you to do this. Take the time to go out there, not to go out there, but take the time to record a video. You don't have to post it to the world, but record it and go back and look at it. You are your best teacher. When you go through things and you overcome it, and you can still live today, and it hasn't changed you, it hasn't broken you, it hasn't caused you to hate any less. If anything, it causes you to love even more. That is very good therapy for yourself. Because nobody in that video is going to tell you you're doing anything wrong. Because you're experiencing, explaining, and have the results of everything that you went through. Now, for those out there saying, well, how do you know that the person is right? The evidence. If the bottom line at the end does not change you, and if you look at how it may have treated somebody else and how it's changed them, and your outcome is positive, it's with love, you can't go wrong with love. You can't go wrong with love. Mother, Father, God is love. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, a dear loving somebody, okay? And this person explained to me, and I explained to them, and this person's point was valid, as was mine. Now, you know that the Bible is written by man. It has other people's perception of what goes on. But if the point in the Bible is consistent, your body, your inner knowing will let you know or gravitate to what is right. You have a sensor in your body that can tell you what's right or wrong. How in tune you are with yourself will determine how loud you can hear that or recognize that tool that you have in your body. Your conscious, your discernment, your awareness. We all have it. And if you are in tune with yourself and in tune with God that's in you, you'll recognize what the Bible is saying that to be true or that to be false. And this is what I'm learning. Because I was taught my whole life one thing. Read the Bible front and back several times. And then all of a sudden, I get slapped with half of this stuff is not true. And then I started doing research and find out about the people who write the Bible and all that other stuff. My gut feeling tells me, or I can feel what's right and what's wrong when I read the word. Going back to my point. In Ephesians, it talks about the armor of God. When it talks about the armor of God, it is telling you what each part is and where it goes. And somebody has said to me, well, that's not really true because you really can't believe. Well, let me phrase that. That person was explaining to me that who is to say that we are to believe that because it was from the Bible, written by individuals that had sinned. Okay, we all sin. We all fall short of the glory of God. There's no perfect person. And this is not to take away from what the person has said. That person was valid, and what that person said was not wrong, because that's what that person believed. I'm saying this point, and you can only hear my point. So it might seem like I'm overshadowing, but I'm not. I put that disclaimer out there. But when you talk about the armor of God, it's telling you, put on the helmet. Okay, put on the full armor of God. The helmet of salvation. The helmet goes on the head. The breastplate of righteousness. That's the breastplate, the chest. The helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness. The shield. Oh, I gotta say it in order. Helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, shield of faith. A shield is something that goes in your hands to protect you. That's a shield of faith. Helmet of salvation, look my mouth. Helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, shield of faith, the sword of God's holy word, the Bible, the word. It goes in your hand, the sword, the helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, the shield of faith, the sword of God's holy word, the belt of truth that goes around your waist. Guard yourself around your waist, right? And the shoes of peace that's on your feet. These, in that particular part of the Bible in Ephesians, it tells you about the full armor of God and where it goes. These are points in the body that needs to be protected. Because you have spirits that can come into these vessels, people, humans. And there are certain gates that they can enter. So if you fully dress the full armor of God, you're covering those areas, or you have something to cover the area. So if it's telling you where it goes and what it's for, then most likely that's what that is explaining it to you. It's not to go ahead and put it someplace else. It's telling you exactly where it goes. So it's self-explanatory. I'm gonna pause for a second because I want to make sure I'm not getting off track. Okay. So the point was perception and how we see things and how we were taught one thing and then we come back, or we're in the present time and we're finding out a lot of things that we were taught were wrong. And we can't get upset at what we were taught, because the person who taught it to us was taught that one. And the person who taught it to them was taught that. It was just something that was set out intentionally so that it can cover or block or prevent you from seeing what was actually there. That movie, The Truman Story, when I first saw the movie, I didn't have any mental idea of how profound and how valid that movie was. We are all living like the Truman Story. There are other people watching us. Excuse me. Other people that are watching us. It's like they're sitting back in a movie theater with popcorn watching us in our real time, living our real life. The same way we'll go to a movie and watch the movie and how the characters play out in the movie, and we're sitting here eating our popcorn, watching them. I always said to people, things come from somewhere. Somebody got an inkling or some type of thought or was spoken to, whether it was internally or physically, for something to come to pass, something to happen. I always say there's nothing new under the sun. So I'm saying all this to say, we're always watched, and I feel like my conversation is being changed. So I don't want to. I'm gonna just lose control over where I'm trying to get at, and just let it flow. Because I was going in one direction, then it went to another direction, then it turned to another direction. So I'm just gonna let it flow. I'm gonna lose the reins and let it flow the way it's supposed to go. Because my point that I was trying to make, I lost it. But either way, it's coming out, and I pray that it's helpful. And I pray that you get an understanding of what I'm trying to say. But don't let nobody change, deter, or rewrite what you know, what you experienced, what you went through, and what is. Because you know. I hope I said something that was helpful. I hope it said something that caused you to think. I hope I gave you some food for thought and a cup of conversation. And I thank God and my spirit team for allowing this to flow. So I'm going to pause. And until next time, love yourself, forgive yourself, spend some time with you, appreciate you, forgive you, then forgive others. Until next time. Peace.